Welcome to another FafNir guide. Today's guide is about Purrely, the cute and the cool majestic cat, that in my opinion, this deck could be the next broken deck on par with Purrely Tearlaments. In my opinion, this deck is quite cheap to build, and it's very consistent, which I believe new player will love it. And here are the list of what Purrely have to offer if you interested to build this deck. 1. Consistently summon an unaffected monster. 2. Built an OTK through one monster. 3. Draw up to 6 cards in a turn. 4. It has the best recovery mechanic in the game. 5. 6 to 8 material Zeus. 'And lastly 6, once per turn is not exist. This deck is totally an Xyz-based deck that fully utilize an advanced level of Xyz monsters mechanic that the game never teach you. So first let me introduce you to what the hell is Xyz monster. If you already know about it, you can skip this part and straight to the deck profile and effects explanation. Quick explanation of the cards. Here is the look of the monster card. Instead of having a level, it's using a different system called rank. Usually the total rank of the monster is similar to the total level of both materials used to summon it. Although some of the Xyz monster required specific requirement like monster type, attribute, archetypical names, or even specific condition like Utopic, Draco, and Zeus. Even though Zeus has a specific condition, it still can be manually Xyz summon with the stated materials. And this kind of unique summoning method appear in both Purrely Xyz and KASHTIRA Arise Heart, which I'm gonna make a guide for it soon. To perform the summon, basically you must control 2 or more monster with similar levels, summon the Xyz monster, and attach those monsters under it. In the anime, they call it overlay. Some newbie tips: if you have Xyz monster on the field, there will be 2 icons with numbers here. The star one is rank number, while the orbital one is the total of material this card have. Please do not misinterpret it the other way around. By having those materials stack under them, the game never explained what and why there must be a material stored under them. In my opinion, most of Xyz monsters' effects are broken, that they have to limit the use of their effects by making them to have a fuel to activate their effects, in this case the attached materials. Once they are out of materials, they basically becomes a normal monster, unless it has a passive effect, or some other card effects that can attach materials from other space to the empty Xyz monster to refuel their effects. And that is the basic play of Purrely deck, attaching materials from somewhere else. Some main deck cards that are truly designed for Xyz-based deck have a unique effects that can be applied to the Xyz monster that attached it as the material. For example, this monster, an Xyz monster that was summoned using this card as an Xyz material, gain this effect. Remember, it must be used as summoned material to gain the effect, but there are some busted cards that can gain the same effect just by attaching it. Understanding this is important because Purrely are fully utilizing this kind of mechanic. When the monster leave the field, even return to hand or banish, the materials in it will go straight to graveyard. That's all I can explain about Xyz monsters. Now let's talk about Purrely. Unlike the basic one, Purrely's Xyz summon mechanic is different. As you can see, the main deck monsters, both light and dark Purrely, are a level 1 monsters, while their Xyz monsters are rank 2 and rank 7 monsters.
So, how do we summon them?
They have a unique effects where they can Xyz summon using one card, in this case Purrely, and attach their quick play spell as material. We gonna call them memory spell. Dark Purrely can Xyz summon by targeting the memory spell in graveyard, and Light Purrely can Xyz summon by revealing the memory spell on your hand. Dark Purrely can only use its effect once per turn, while Light one can use its effect once per summon. This means Light Purrely can activate their effects again and again, as long as you summon the different copies of it, or resummon the same card from other places. This includes their summoning trigger effects, where Dark one can search any Purrely card except Memory Spell, and Light one can excavate 3 cards from deck and add 1 Purrely spell or trap card from them. Their Xyz monsters are a generic rank 2 and 7 Xyz monster. Generic means they can be summoned using other monster other than Purrely. All of the rank 2 have their own effects, but those effect can become a quick effect if they have their own specific memory spell attached as their material. Beauty with pretty memory, happiness with happy memory, plump with delicious memory, and one more that haven't been released yet, Purrely Noah with sleepy memory. And their effects doesn't detaching materials at all. Remember that I said Xyz monster are broken, that they got limited by detaching a material? That's why this deck is so strong, because their objective is to attaching materials on them as many as possible while they still can activate their effects limitless. Next, the memory spell. All of this card are quick play effects, so it can be activated in response to anything including Max C. You can chain it to Max C in order to avoid 1 draw from its summoning effects. All of the memory spell are not once per turn, so you can activate it as many times as you want. It has a main mandatory effects, and after that resolve, the second effect will trigger where you can summon any Purrely from deck. But the thing is, you must discard a card to do so. The cool thing is every memory spell can do the same thing, so you basically have like 12 cards that can summon Purrely from deck and start your combo. Pretty consistent, isn't it? But activating a card and discarding a card means you losing 2 cards from your hand. Hand management skill are needed to play this deck. The pretty memory, when active both player will gain 1000 life points. If this memory spell attached to a Purrely Xyz monster, that monster gain an effects to attach 1 card on the field as its materials. The sleepy memory, when active, the next battle or effect damage you take this turn will become 0. This only lasts until the end of the turn this card activated. If this memory spell attached to a Purrely Xyz monster, that monster gain an effects to let you draw 1 card during opponent's standby phase only. One of the cool thing is, this card can be stacked and have their effects activated 1 by 1. 3 of them means draw 3 times. The happy memory, when active, target a card on the field. The first time it destroyed by card effects, it's not destroyed. The effects last 2 turns from the initial activation. If this memory spell attached to a Purrely Xyz monster, that monster gain an effects to attack monsters more than once based on how many happy memory attached to it. The delicious memory, when active, target a monster on the field. It cannot be destroyed by battle. The effects last 2 turns from the initial activation. If this memory spell attached to a Purrely Xyz monster, that monster gain 300 attack points based on how many materials it has. It also stacks if there are 2 or 3 delicious memory attached to it. As you can see, even though those memory have their own respective Purrely Xyz monster, the attached effects applied to any Purrely Xyz monster that has it. Now, can you see the complicated things this deck have? The memory spell can give the Xyz monster extra effects, while the Xyz monster needed the specific memory spell to make their original effects becomes quick effects. The rest of the cards, I explain them in tips and tricks. Here's the deck list. Notice I'm using some Dark World engine in order to keep the card that I need on my hand while doing the combo. This is the tech that I think Purrely needed to keep cards on your hand to be at your advantages, which I'll show the use of it in the combo section. I did some adjustment compared to my previous Purrely replays. I will explain the adjustment in the pin comment below. If you need a cheaper list, you can go for this, but still need to make sure you have all the UR Purrely that you need. The only mandatory UR you need in extra deck are 1 Big Noir and 1 Zeus. Invest more UR points on the main deck first. The Nibiru, Imperm, Storm, and Ash Blossom can be bought with a total of 3,200 gems in shop, and you get 40 packs that you can open with the chances of more UR and SR cards to be converted. Here are some basic combo you can do. Keep in mind, this dex combo is kinda non-linear. It can depends on the card that you excavate using Purrely. If Purrely doesn't open any memory spell, then you have to improvise from it. The main objective of this deck, when going first, is to get 5 or more mats x Purrely Noah on your field and stay calm until the end phase of your opponents. Activate Noah and dry out its materials to return all cards your opponents control in the field and graveyard, or you can use it to disrupt your opponent's play during their turn. But keep in mind, once Noah have materials below 5, Noah becomes vulnerable. Basic Pure Noah combo. Once again, the combo really depends on the card that we excavate. If you excavate no Purrely spell, means you cannot extend the combo anymore. If you have Purrelyeap, having 4 mats Purrely should be enough to get 5 mats Noir next turn. In this combo, usually people use Plump to make sure they can get 5 mats Noah, but other rank 2 Xyz can also do it as well. One thing that I haven't mentioned before, all rank 2 Xyz monster have a trigger effects. When you activate a memory spell, you can attach them as a material. It can only be done 3 times per monster, but it's not once per turn. So here is another basic but weaker combo if you don't get more memory spell in the process. It's not 5 mats Noah, but at least you can still disrupt your opponent's play next turn. Next are using Dark World Engine. By having Snowu, you can keep summoning Purrely from deck without losing all of your cards on your hand, as long as you manage to excavate any memory spell. Discard Dark World. With Dark World, Engine is really easy to maintain your hand while summoning 3 Light Purrely from deck. Those are all the going first combo that I can come up with. Next is how to do the most complicated OTK combo ever done in Yu-Gi-Oh! To be able to do this combo, you must make sure to get Happy Memory and summon rank 2 happiness with it, and also Delicious Memory on your hand. This OTK combo only works against attack position monster that have an attack points equal or under 2800. In here, I decided to clear up their back row in case it's an imperm or something else. Activate Delicious, directly chain it to Happiness, and target opponent's monster that you want to OTK with. You don't have to summon more Purrely if you have no more cards to discard. Attack that monster that you targeted by Delicious, and Happiness will trigger its effect. To add any Purrely card from deck. In this case, we're gonna add the second Delicious memory, and then half that monster's attack. As you can see, Happiness can attack again because of Happy Memory inside it, but before that, we're gonna activate Delicious Memory, and chain it again to Happiness. And now attack the same monster again. Now we add the second Happy Memory, and do the same thing again. With second Happy Memory, Happiness can attack again for the last time and finish it. You can also do this combo against the attack position monster that have above 2,800 points. When activate Delicious, instead of targeting the opponent's monster, target our own Happiness with it. With this, when our Happiness attack, it doesn't get destroyed, but still able to search another Delicious memory to target the monster and reduce its attack. There's also another OTK combo if you can't manage to get Delicious Memory. In this case, your opponents must control two monsters, one with an attack position monster, and the other must be either a defense position 1 or an attack position with an attack points lower than 2,000. Add the first Delicious and target the other monster that you just reduce. In here, instead of adding the second Delicious, we add the second Happy Memory instead. And then add the third memory and finish it. Actually, there's another OTK combo that you can do against empty board, but I don't recommend to do it since it's really complicated and can easily be disrupted. We are going to use the rank 7 Happiness instead. Here it goes. That's all the basic combo that I can provide. Next are the test hand replay that you might interested and learn from it. I'm using the same deck list that I've shown before. Test hand 1. Test hand 2. Test hand OTK. Lastly, here are tips and tricks for you. Stray Purrely Street. This field spell have 3 different effects. 1. It can protect your special summon Purrely from any targeting effects. 2. Whenever an Xyz Purrely monster leaves the field because of opponent's effect, you can special summon 1 level 1 Purrely from graveyard or deck. 3. During the end phase, you can target 1 Purrely Xyz monster you control, and attach 1 memory spell from your graveyard or deck to it. My friend Purrely. Besides its use to search your needed Purrely cards, it also have a trigger effects similar to the field spell. Whenever an Xyz Purrely leaves the field, you can grab back up to 3 memory spell from graveyard with different name each. I'll show you how insane this effect is. I got Nibiru at this point, and then you will see the miracle that it did. I even get more materials than the previous plump. Purrelyeap. This trap card makes you able to Xyz summon any Xyz Purrely by targeting your own Xyz Purrely on the field, but keep in mind it can only Xyz summon Purrely that have different rank than the current targeted one, so from rank 2 to rank 7, or the other way around. And also, that Purrely Xyz monster will return during the next end phase. If you activate it on your opponent's turn, it will return next turn during your own end phase. So make sure to attack with an Xyz monster and summon Zeus using that Xyz Purrely, so it won't waste those material. Sleepy Memory. Here is how to draw 6 cards during your opponent's turn. First thing first, you must have a rank 2 Purrely that have 3 Sleepy Memory as an attached material in it, and you must have Purrelyeap trap card. And make sure before ending the phase, toggling on. Go to submenu, game settings, tap on Duel, set self-chain to on, activation confirmation to switch, and activation order settings to on. During opponent's standby phase, there will be 3 Sleepy Memory on your choice. Activate one, don't chain anything, let it draw first, and then activate the other one again until you draw 3 times. After that, activate Purrelyeap and summon Noir. Since it's still during standby phase, the effects reset, and you can draw another 3 cards from your deck, and pray that you draw any hand traps from it. Purrely Noir. We know the returning effects is a quick effects and not once per turn as long as Noir have enough materials to detach. But if you accidentally detaching the level 1 Purrely, this effect is no longer become a quick effect. Please keep in mind on that. Utopic Draco Future. If you are an Xyz deck player, I'm sure you should have this monster. You can summon it with just using 2 level 1 Purrely. But in order to do this, you must have 2 Mischief, 1 Duelahan, 1 Utopic Future, 1 Utopic Draco Future in your extra deck plus 1 Ghost Trick Shot in your main deck. I do not recommend this at all. Ensemblue Robin. This Xyz monster is really good. It have an effect like Solemn Judgment but only for special summon monster, and it's not once per turn as long as it has a material to detach. Nitingale. This card is an OTK blocker, since recently we got lot of new deck that can OTK, like Makonko and Ninja. Summoning her is the safest choice to survive turn 2. Just make sure activate its effect during opponent's standby phase. That's all for the guide. To sum it up, this deck is a good deck to learn the advanced way to play an Xyz-based deck, from extra effects gain by attaching it as material, and attaching and reattaching materials, which is the unique point of Xyz monsters. Thanks for watching. If you like it, leave a like, subscribe and share it. See you next time.